Is the
I
more?
would say that the kind of like lung, heart, cat, stomach, upper stomach cavity. I don't know if it has a name or, um, for that section with a spleen
Yeah,
because it's like hugging the side of the stomach,
yeah, right. And
right?
it actually should be hugging the side of the liver. That's a good point, Phyllis. It should be because lymphatics, I mean, you actually do see fluid. I mean, some of these things I never even looked for, and then I'd start to notice them where, so liver on that side, now that liver on that side, gallbladder on the other, I will swear to that. I've seen that, and I could hardly believe it. I was like, this is too metaphysical. That can't be. Like, the tongue is not a metaphysical, like an astrological chart or something. But I have seen that so many times. But another thing I've seen in that area right between the spleen and the liver, where there may be some swelling, some pale tissue, some fluid. I interpret that as the lymphatic drainage off the liver as having some trouble. Um, this is something I've just noticed in the last year, so I haven't really developed something specific there for liver, lymphatic drainage, etc. Then kidneys, once you get anything that far down the tongue, it's serious. Intestines, I can't say, it's hard to pick out specific stuff in the intestines because so much, you don't get good light all the time. And there's so much crud going on down there. And usually that last third down there is coated. And actually, if it was dry and uncoated, that would be a problem. But it could be coated a little bit, usually, maybe more. You do see yeast infections and things like that. And then finally, that little last spot, anus, bladder, genitals, that's a bit of a guess for me. That's what I guess. I still haven't really um, determined that. And it may actually be kidneys, like Elise Wolf taught that you get dark brownish, purplish coatings too down there, often indicates some goldenrod. And I have seen that. And goldenrod is really a kidney remedy. So it could also be kidneys. But in Chinese medicine, actually, the genitals would be with the kidneys, and the bladder would be kind of part of the kidney yin. So, so that's a little tentative for me. So this is my chart, but yeah, then we have Phyllis's chart, I believe. So
Yeah,
yeah,
mine is a lot simpler.
all right,
Right. And this is like just your basic kidneys, the basic um, major organs. And like in the chart, though, the way I was kind of taught was that in digestion, you have the liver and gallbladder back there, where Matthew has it on the sides, and the kidneys and lungs are on the sides. The other organs are kind of in the middle along the center line or kind of off the center line. Yeah, and they're just kind of clumped in there together. You just kind of don't have a definitive, oh, here's the stomach or here's the spleen. You just know it was in there. In the middle is how I was taught. And then at the bottom, we have the heart, which is a muscle. So it's like muscles, bones, structure, um, including the heart. And then the spine is a nervous system and the vertebrae. Um, and
right.
then cracks in the tongue is nervous system. So just really basic, but I've found it super useful over the years. I mean, it's like so easy and quick to learn. It gets you started, and if you look at Matthews is a little more complex, traditional Chinese medicine, even more complex, wouldn't you say? TCM
Yeah,
tongues, more complex. But this is like really basic. It's a good one. It has served me for many, many years, but it's a good one to kind of learn to get started on. And then you can think, oh, and then you can like add in um, like, oh, now look at Matthew's tongue, more complex. You begin to see a different picture, but I still use this one 90% of the time. It still serves me well.
yeah, I like that putting the nervous system and therefore the emotions with the spine. I hadn't thought that far in advance. But yeah, so the spine is going to be your central nervous system, which
Mhm.
is your consciousness. And so, of course, actually, the autonomic runs right alongside of it. So I don't know, maybe I'm over. Well, even that gives you a lot of emotions. And no matter which one it is, both the autonomic and the central run down the spine.
Right.
So you're going to have all your nerves presented there in their
Yep.
strongest intensity, and you get emotions from both nervous systems. So yeah, I and yeah, the cracking. Yeah, I would agree. That it's so vata, it's both dryness and and nervous system. They can
Yeah.
be nervous and dry often. And I would say another thing that this kind of brings out that mine doesn't is that the sides are where the excess moisture builds up. And it does go a little higher than that. Like if that line overlapped a little bit, like the top line, yeah, right in there, if it went a little further, then you get dampness up to about there. That's can run all along the whole side. I mean, you can get dampness everywhere, but that's kind of you get it right in those areas. And I have kind of thought of that as the skin like discharging and the mucosa not discharging fluids well. But actually, this model shows like you got two water organs there. I mean, they aren't water in Chinese medicine necessarily,
Right.
but
Well, they are. I mean, kidneys are obviously water, but
I mean,
99% of what
yeah,
we exhale is moisture.
right. Right. And I mean, in Chinese medicine, they aren't the water element, is what I meant. But yeah,
Ah,
but
gotcha.
what I like here is that the top is kind of the exhalation of the water, and the bottom is the water flowing out. So I think that's something I will look for.